Hey, in this video we're going to have a look at recognising some relationships and some basic work around rates of change. Okay, so to start off with, we're going to have a look at these containers here. So we're thinking about these as containers that we're going to fill with water. Okay, so we're going to pour water in and we're going to see this height gradually increase. Okay, and without actually coming up with a rule, we can draw a graph that more or less represents what's going on here. Okay, to map the height of the water as we come across for our volume of water going in there. So we're looking at what happens to our height as our volume increases. Now when you see this, we've got nice straight sides. Okay, so we're going to end up with this nice linear relationship. Okay, the height increases at the same rate all the time as we come across. That's not always the case though. We can see if we had something like this, we can see that initially as the volume's going up, our height isn't changing much, but as we keep going up with our volume, our height is going to increase a lot more rapidly. Okay, so what we're going to see is something like this happening for this one, with our volume and our height. Right? And lastly, we've got this interesting looking one here that's kind of like a figure eight sort of shape, or an hourglass type of shape. Okay. So here, initially our volume is going to be going up reasonably quickly. It's going to slow down, then it's going to speed up. Okay, and then it's going to get to this point, it's going to slow down again before speeding up again at the end. Okay, so we end up with quite an unusual, interesting looking graph from a vessel like this when we're looking at our height compared to our volume of water. Okay, so the idea is about rates of change. The rate at which one variable changes with respect to another. Okay, so if we're looking at our variables just y and x here for each of these ones, okay, we can see here, okay, that as x increases, okay, y also increases. Okay, so that's going to tell us that we've got a positive rate of change, RSA, rate of change. Okay. If we have a look at this one though, as x increases, okay, y actually decreases. Okay, so this would indicate a negative rate of change. Okay, this would be a negative rate of change. This one here, okay, it stays the same. So as x gets bigger, okay, y doesn't change. It stays the same. So this would indicate a rate of change which is actually in fact 0. Now this idea of rate of change is exactly the same idea as our gradients, our slopes, and our linear relationships, okay, that we've seen previously. So if we were to walk across this one, okay, and we're walking uphill, we say that the gradient is positive, or with our new terminology, our rate of change is positive. We're walking left to right here, we're going to walk downhill, okay, so we look at that as our gradient or our rate of change being negative. And if we're walking across here, it's flat, so we say our rate of change, our gradient is just 0. Okay, so in this first section, we're not really looking at equations at all, we're just looking at the relationships and the rates of change of those relationships. So hopefully that'll be enough to get you through this section.